Welcome everyone. This is MuxLab MuxMeet Solutions webinar, and I'm going to be your presenter. My name is Jose Mosota. I'm the president of Freeman Solutions, an AB consulting company that focuses on training, which I think is a very important element of the AB formation. I hold the CTS and CTSI certifications from AVIXA. I'm an HD-based authorized trainer and SDBOE design partner, and I'm Dante certified to level 3, and I'm also a member of the AVIXA faculty. I teach CTS prep and networking technology for AVIXA. So today we're going to talk about meetings, and the goals of this webinar are first to discuss the issues related to meeting solutions. I always think that when we're talking about specific solutions that we can offer you and your customers, it's very important to talk about the underlying technology, the underlying parameters, items that are relevant to that technology before discussing how are we going to solve the problem. And afterwards, we're going to review the MuxLab MuxMeet offering that addresses the issues that we're going to discuss on the first part of the webinar. Please participate, asking questions. I've been doing this for many years, and there are always questions that nobody asks because they think are too simple. Well, there's really no simple questions. There are no wrong questions. Sometimes one question that you ask, it's in the mind of other 20 people in the room, and nobody's asking it. So please go ahead and ask the questions, and at the end, we will address all the questions that are being presented from you. First, I think that we need to look at how important this market is, the meeting room solutions market, in terms of value for the people that are going to work in that market. And most of the data that's available, as you know, in general, happens to be for the US market. We can apply the rule of 10% of the US market is the size of the Canadian market. So as you can see, the US video conference market, the North America conference market, is planned to grow at about 11.5 compound aggregate rate per year, which is pretty impressive. Right now, the market, about 30% of the market belongs to hardware. So those are the pieces of equipment that people are buying to create the meeting room solutions. About 30% of the value of the market is related to software that people are actually utilizing to implement those solutions. And the rest of the market, it's about services, some services that people provide monitoring your meeting room solutions, and also the services that you provide when you install those meeting room solutions. In terms of the size of the meeting rooms that people are looking at, about 40% of the market is focusing on the small rooms, which makes a lot of sense because we're going to discuss that one of the trends in the market after the pandemic is the remote work, the work from home, the login from a remote site. So there is less people now in the rooms than they were before. So a lot of the solutions are happening in small rooms. One solution area that is growing importantly is huddle rooms. Those would be rooms that are especially designed to get a few people together so that they can collaborate effectively. And we still have solutions being installed in middle and large rooms. My own opinion is that that is the result of the fact that the rooms exist, the real estate exists, the offices exist, and those rooms are there. They're just being equipped so that people can actually utilize them in a more efficient and productive manner. When it comes to verticals, and if you are an integrator, that may interest you in terms of which verticals are giving you the most opportunity in meeting room solutions. If you're a user, you can see where you are in terms of importance in this market. The largest share of the market for global meeting room solutions would be corporate. Education is also important, even though there's a big push to try and continue to have education face-to-face. There's still a lot of opportunities for meeting room solutions and video conferencing in education. For example, to have some important speaker give a presentation and have many people attend that presentation. That would be one of the areas of application there. Healthcare is also an important area on global video conferencing or meeting room solutions. Then we have banking, finance, and insurance. Government and defense tend to be less relevant because they tend to avoid doing a lot of video conferencing and these kind of solutions because of security. Afterwards, you have some media and entertainment, and whatever is not there, it's on the last one. But the corporate definitely, which is the most typical customer of Pro AV, together with education and healthcare, represent more than half the market of opportunities, which is 6.3 billion. And North America and in Canada, it's going to be around $630 million. What comes to your mind when we say we're going to talk about meeting room solutions? There are a lot of buzzwords that are out there today in marketing, in meetings, in presentations. Consultants are throwing them around. And those words kind of reflect the state of the meeting room solutions market. You may add to this page as many other words that you feel are important, but work from home, it's a very important one nowadays. People are definitely working from home. The return to the office is happening very slowly, if at all in many cases. So any solution has to take that into consideration. Inclusion, it's a very important one. The fact that people are not in the room, the fact that people are participating remotely can be a negative factor when it comes to those people feeling included in the discussion, feeling included in the conversation, feeling included in the decision. So something that is in the mind of everybody that is working with meeting solutions is to make sure that the solution favors the inclusion of every participant. The other one is words like Zoom and MS Teams as the two leading kind of meeting room software or meeting solution software that most people are utilizing nowadays. And any solution that we have will have obviously to be compatible with those type of software. One word that is going around as UCC, everybody talks about UCC, Unified Collaboration and Communication. That existed before the pandemic. It's become even more important during and after the pandemic. And we're going to talk in detail about UCC. And finally, sharing, okay? For many, many years, and you can look at me and see that I've been a long time in corporate America, we used to have the meetings where somebody would get up, present, but there wasn't a lot of sharing, there wasn't a lot of collaboration. That has changed dramatically. The new generations are geared towards sharing, towards collaboration. So whatever we do on a meeting room solution has to actually be able to favor the sharing of information, the sharing of ideas. Now, what is really UCC? Let's try and have a definition for UCC since everybody uses it when it's related to meeting room solutions. UCC stands for Unified Communication and Collaboration. And it's not only about meetings. It's a series of tools, software solutions that help companies implement quasi real-time collaboration. So there's always going to be some delay if you're not face-to-face, but it can be almost real-time. Tools and solutions that make up unified communication and collaboration are things like IP telephony, instant messaging, email, file sharing, desktop sharing, presence, allowing people to be present even if they are not in the particular place where the collaboration and communication is taking place, and definitely audio and video conferencing. Audio conferencing, I'm old enough that I spent most of my life around a telephone doing audio conferencing and telling people, go to page 13 of the slide deck that I send you by email. So nowadays, fortunately, we can do it with video collaboration like we're doing on this call, and we can be sharing this presentation with everybody on the call. So not all the aspects of a meeting room solution are actually related to UCC. UCC, it's a broader concept, but it's a very important concept to talk about because it's what's driving the implementation of meeting room solutions and other strategies and tools to communicate in the enterprise. Why do people look into having UCC? Why do they want to do this unified communication and collaboration? You're going to have an increase in productivity. It gives you flexibility. Not everybody has to be in the same site when you're having a meeting. That doesn't only mean work from home. They can be in another corporate site. They can actually be at a work site, at a customer site, and still participate. It improves your capability to respond. It improves your response time. And in doing so, it increases the customer satisfaction. It helps you to collaborate, and it also helps build inclusivity if you do it right, because people will feel that they have participated in that particular project, in that particular solution. Some data from the internet, from Inc.com, tells you 75% of customers experience improved productivity because they were doing voice and video conferencing. 67% increased mobile worker productivity and faster problem resolution. About 50% were saving up to 20 minutes per employee daily because the message were managed more efficiently. And very important, about 46% realized travel savings of more than 5 days per employee annually, because many times the employees don't need to travel to be participating on the meetings. How did we handle meetings in the past? So this is the history of a few years back. Our traditional setup in a meeting room was we had a screen on the wall. We had either a projector or we had a laptop, like in the picture that we have there, connected with a cord, an HDMI cable to the screen on the wall. We probably had a couple of HDVHD converters, a transmitter and a receiver, and that allowed us also to handle up to a point the bring your own device. People were not bringing as many devices as today, but their laptops had different connectors, DVI, VGA, etc., and we were able to accommodate all those possible connections. And we had a media server if we were sharing media, or we had a laptop if we were sharing presentations. And you would present, you would sit down, somebody will get up, connect to his laptop or her laptop, present, sit down, etc. So that setup provided very good live presentation capabilities. If you had something to present, you could do it very efficiently, but it wasn't really meant for sharing and collaboration. Yes, you could speak. Yes, you could ask questions. Yes, you could say things. You could bring your ideas to the table, but it was not geared to you actually sharing particular data at a particular time from your own laptop, because only one person was typically connected to the screen at the time. That doesn't cut it anymore. In the present day, when we have a meeting solution in a room, we need to make sure that we can share content, because the work nowadays is based on collaboration. We also need to make sure that we can have audio and video conferencing from people working from home and or remote corporate locations and or work sites, so that they can participate on the conference. We have now the requirement of bring your own device capabilities that goes beyond a laptop with a certain connector that may not be the most widely used ones. It also means I can bring a tablet. It means I can bring an iPhone. It means I can bring an Android phone. It doesn't matter what I bring. I want to connect and I want to share whatever I have on that particular device. That was happening a little bit a few years back. I remember I went to the University of Kingston to talk with their IB department about a solution, and they said, we just had a PhD student come in to defend his thesis with an iPhone, and we had a hard time making sure that he could connect that iPhone to our AV system. So bring your own device. It's an issue, and we need to address it. And finally, anything we do is going to have to be compatible with most conferencing software solutions, simply because we're going to have people connecting. If we have vendors with different solutions, some of them may do Zoom. We're doing this one with GoToMeeting. Sometimes my customers ask me to use MS Teams. Other times they do Google Meet. So all these solutions, whatever we do, our setup in the room has to be compatible with all those solutions, so that we can actually communicate effectively with all the people that we need to communicate with. Now, If you go to conferences nowadays on video conferencing, on meeting rooms, on AV, on UCC, at the end of the conference, they always kind of publish a series of trends that they see. And the trends are normally based on two main ideas. One of them is technology. Technology advances, and we have trends that are based on the fact that we have better or newer technology to take advantage of. The other one is when we go out and we actually look at the trends so that the participants in the meeting feel more included, that it's easier for them to participate. So that's the typical trends that you find. And I have two slides here summarizing the trends that people in those meetings are listing as important to the industry in general. The first one is virtual reality design. So we have this kind of picture here to the right at the top, in which we actually looking at a room where everybody is like an avatar in the middle of the room. These things are being developed. Tell you the truth, I don't know how I feel about that in particular. It feels kind of science fiction and kind of weird, but we cannot diminish it. There's always going to be, if you're an installer, designer, amongst your customers, somebody that is always on the cutting edge of the technology, and the moment they see that this exists, they're going to ask for it. So you should be aware that it exists, and you should be making yourself familiar with the solutions that are in the market for virtual reality. The second one is flexible spaces. Definitely, we're trying to define these spaces on the enterprise, not as before as fixed cubicles and a fixed meeting room for this and a fixed meeting room for that. We try to make spaces that can be adapted to whatever we want to do at a particular moment. Same thing with the displays. Nowadays, in many places, you are seeing the adoption of direct LED video walls that create digital canvases in which you can actually present more than one piece of information at the time. Being as old as I am, that sometimes confuses me. Here we have a picture from the IBM Technology Center, and they created this video wall where they are displaying 5 things. If I'm in that room, I don't know what I should look at, but the newer let's say generations, the younger people are very, very digitally oriented, and they feel very comfortable actually looking at various pieces of information on a screen. So that's becoming also a trend in larger meeting rooms, for example. Whiteboards are coming back, and interactive whiteboards are becoming more and more relevant to us being able to collaborate in meetings. Video conferencing, we have to continue exploring the edge of video conferencing and making it better and better. In some cases, some software like Zoom has created a trend with what they call Zoom rooms, which try to make it easier for you to actually manage your video conferencing solution in a particular room. Acoustics. How many of you have been at a meeting where you don't feel like listening because of the fact that you cannot hear well what the person is saying? It's cavernous, is resonating. So more and more attention is being paid to the acoustics of the room so that it can improve the experience of every participant. Personalized conference rooms for specific kind of purposes, we can actually design them in a way that the engineering people work better in that room, while the marketing people have other tools and another different setup in another room. And finally, there's a trend that says you should train people. And that's something that I put in caps because simply people forget about it, okay? They think that everybody is tech savvy. They think that everything is plug and play, and here you are, and get into the room and start the conference, and it happens that nobody knows how to start the conference. So you do need training. For example, I can give you a few years back, one of my customers, a large distributor, had completely remodeled their conference room. I came in to make a training, and the person that had been trained was sick, and there was nobody else in the office that knew how to use that. It took us about an hour and a half with the manuals to understand how we had to connect everything because it was not as plug and play as people think. So always remember, you always need to include in whatever solution you're proposing, or if you're an end user in this call, to include in every solution that you're going to purchase the budget for training you need to train the people that are going to use the solution. Other trends, there are some of them related to the well-being and good experience for the users, is ease of use. Things should be easy to use. Installs should be as plug and play as possible. As I said, not everything is plug and play, but we should try and make it plug and play, and we're going to see that on the MuxMeet solutions we're going to discuss. Something that people are trying to use also is what is called automatic framing. So we have now cameras that will actually follow the speaker. They will zoom into the speaker. If you have various people around the table, they will zoom into the people that are talking when they are talking by interacting with the speakers. And in that way, you will actually be seeing the person that is talking. And if somebody is walking around the room and presenting, they can actually follow that presenter. Some people don't like that because it can be distracting, but on the other hand, it's a tool in case that you are comfortable with that kind of application. Better audio comes back again, and we certainly need better audio. We need to make sure that remote attendees have a good experience. Why? Because 75% of participants is said that are acting remotely in any one meeting. Is that going to change? We don't know. Some people want people to go back to the office. A lot of people don't want to go back to the office. For the time being, we're still going to have a lot of remote attendees, and we should make sure that their experience is good. A whiteboard extensions, we notice it. And then next to it, there's a graph on reporting and analytics. There are companies providing solutions that allow you to keep track of what's going on in your meetings and in your rooms. This is an example for a very large corporation. I know you cannot read the little letter here, but these are sites. So one is in Austin, one is in Boston, one is in London. So you can get your data by site if you're a multinational corporation with a variety of sites. And then it tells you when was the room empty, when was there people only, when we're just doing presentations, when we were doing audio, when we were doing video, when we were doing presentation and audio. So you can slice it and dice it as much as you want. There are companies providing this kind of software solution, and there's a trend towards utilizing those solutions to better understand how you're using your assets. Another one is artificial intelligence capabilities. Artificial intelligence that can be listening and transcribing the meeting, creating notes for the meeting. Also translation, since you can put closed caption easily nowadays in meeting, why not have an artificial intelligence translation that will actually put the subtitles in the language of people in the meeting that may not be English speaking as their first language or French speaking or whatever. So that's an important application of AI capabilities, and also collecting and sharing attendee information, always respecting the privacy of the attendees. But if it's allowed, then with AI, you can share and understand the information of the people that are in the room. And finally, I mentioned it at the beginning, huddle rooms are becoming important. Many manufacturers of furniture, like Middle Atlantic, for example, even make some special furniture for huddle rooms, like one wall where you can put a screen and a small U-shaped table where you can put some people around to interact with the people in the screen, or to share whatever information they want to share on an in-house meeting with no remote attendees. So all those trends are things that you should just keep in your mind. You should keep track of them because this is what the people that are driving the industry, the people that are driving the technology are saying that are relevant both to the installers and to the end users. Okay, so this is a little bit the kind of introduction that I wanted to bring to you, highlighting that there is a large market out there for meeting room solutions, that market essentially covers all types of rooms, it covers all types of verticals, and at the same time, that this market is continuously evolving because there are many things that are happening in terms of technology, in terms of working remotely, that need to be addressed to make sure that you provide an excellent solution for that piece of unified communications and collaboration that it is the video conferencing. For those of you that do not know MuxLab or that haven't interacted a lot with MuxLab, MuxLab essentially is a company that covers all the technology that is relevant for Pro AV and broadcast. So whatever you need on AV and broadcast, MuxLab will be there, from AV over IP to HD-VHD to HDMI, DisplayPort, SDI solutions, audio, 4K. And one interesting thing about MuxLab that I always like is the fact that it's a Canadian designer and manufacturer, more than 35 years in the market. And at MuxLab, we design and manufacture our own products. We don't buy black boxes and put our name on it. That has helped us a lot in this pandemic, because if you have approached MuxLab for solutions, you know that we haven't had really significant supply chain issues. We have the ability of working with programmable chips, and we can program and reprogram them to make sure that they meet the needs of the customer at a particular time, and that has allowed us to, continuously supply the market with solutions. We do work in both the Pro AV and the broadcast market and have a very complete line. We do a lot of research and development in our Montreal laboratory. And when you talk to MuxLab because you have a technical problem, you're not talking to a call center somewhere in the world. You're talking to the people in-house that are actually doing the development. Today, we have online one product manager responsible for this product line. And at the end, if there are any questions that are very product specific, he will gladly answer them since he knows more about the products than I do. You find us in all verticals. If you go to our website, there are a lot of case histories on MuxLab applications in all these different verticals. If you go like Ash of Oils in Quebec, there's a sport bar that utilizes MuxLab. And those case histories are important because they show you how the products are applied and the feedback from the people that have applied those products. So let's talk about what we have been developing in order to allow you to stay connected. So the idea is to be able to share, to be able to present, and to be able to huddle on a conference and actually share and present. All our solutions are compatible with the most widely utilized software in the industry, like Microsoft Teams, like Zoom, Skype for Business, GoToMeeting, etc. And the solutions that we're going to talk are, number one, the MuxMeet bar. That's a very interesting piece of equipment. I had a chance to work with it at the Montreal office. I was invited. I'm normally based in Ottawa. And that bar is what is going to give you the video, sound, and microphone for any kind of conference in any kind of meeting. Then we're going to look at MuxMeet Share, and MuxMeet Share is a combination of solutions, both for meetings that are all in-house, so everybody is present, but you want to share what everybody has, or meetings where some people are remote and you still want to share what everybody has. Then we're going to look at MuxMeet Rooms, because we are addressing, for example, the requirement of customers to have a Zoom's Room solution already assembled so that they can install it, plug and play it, and use it immediately. And we have an area that we're developing, which is MuxMeet Me, which would be solutions for the home. We believe it's important that if you're working from home, you get a similar solution to what you have in the enterprise. That facilitates the training. So that's an area where we are now developing the products that will be available shortly. Again, like we said before, most of the solutions today are in small and huddle rooms. However, any middle and large room can also benefit from these solutions, even if there's going to be less people in the room during the meeting present. All the MuxLab solutions that we're going to discuss share these common ideas. Number one, that you can share content. So we have set up a system where we can share up to 4 screens and one in a display. So if you have 4 people sitting around a room and everybody has this PowerPoint presentations or information that they want to share, they can share it at the same time on this video wall, if you want to call it, that we are creating with multi-view in the display that you have available. The other thing is a lot of the applications are going to be push button that you can share just with the touch of a finger. You press the button and you share. All our solutions will have microphones and camera of high quality. We understand the importance of with audio. So we strive to create good quality microphones and good quality cameras in our products. And we also do audio tracking, so that allows you to follow the speaker or to identify the person that is talking and just zoom onto that person. We incorporate Bluetooth and other wireless technologies to connection that we're going to discuss. And we do have a software, MuxMeet, that will allow you to easily set up and manage the solution that you decide to implement in your particular meeting space. The MuxMeet video bar, you may say, well, it looks like many other video bars that I have seen. It has a camera, it has a microphone, and it has the speakers. But when you're talking about video bars, I think the question is, what is the quality of the camera? What is the quality of the microphone? What is the quality of the speakers? I was doing a demonstration with the product manager of this video bar in a room probably about 12 meters long, 12 to 15 meters long, with a door leading into a corridor. And at some point, he went out of the room into the corridor and started speaking to the wall, not facing the room, but facing the wall, and the microphone was still picking up what he was saying. So the quality and capabilities of this microphone are very good. The quality of the camera, 4K 30, is also very good, and it has the ability to follow you when you are speaking together with the microphone. So this is a very interesting piece of hardware that you can set up in any room, and it is actually compatible with Zoom, with Teams, with GoToMeeting, with WebEx, with all kinds of software that is typically used for video conferencing. And the connection is really plug and play. You just have to connect the video bar to your laptop and your laptop to the display, and that's all you have to do. There is nothing else to do. You're ready to go. So it's relatively easy to go out and utilize the MuxMeet video bar. Now, let's say that you do have a meeting where everybody happens to be in the office, and those things happen. You know, there's still people in the office, and in some cases, you may not have anyone working remotely, or you may have people in the office meeting with a vendor that came in to make a presentation. So for that, we created a product, the MuxMeet Share Base 1, and that is geared towards people in the room being able to share whatever content they have, doesn't matter what device they have. So you can share content from a Windows PC, from a Mac, or Android devices. You can do it with a touch of a button. We're going to look at the dongles that do that, but we also support Miracast, and we also support AirPlay. So from that point of view, what we're doing is we're setting up our base here. We're connecting it with Ethernet to our LAN or our router, because this becomes then an access point that has wireless capabilities. It creates a wireless network with a private password only for that room, and then you can connect to that wirelessly. But you can also connect to that with an Android phone by using an app that allows you to communicate with the device and then show your content. If you have an iPad, you can do AirPlay, because this base is compatible with AirPlay. If you have a Mac laptop, we also have an app that allows you to connect the Mac laptop to this base. And you can do it wirelessly, or you can do it with the click of a button by utilizing a dongle that, by clicking, allows you to communicate with the base and to share the content. And as you can see, I mentioned before, you can share up to 4 screens, and this diagram is actually showing that. So we have 4 people in the room, and each one of them is sharing the information that he's bringing to the meeting. If you want to share with the dongles, then we have 2 options. We recognize that a lot of computers nowadays are starting to come with USB-C. When you have USB-C, you have power, and you have the ability to transmit the video. If you don't have USB-C, you have regular USB, then you will have the dongle connected to the HDMI output, and you will use a USB connector in order to power the dongle. But just by clicking on the dongle, you will be able to share your material on the screen. When you're setting up the system, the software is fairly easy. You set up, you run the MuxMeet software, and you will find a screen similar to this one. I know that it looks a little bit complicated, but just briefly, you will have the information on the ID and the password for the wireless network that is being created at that particular place, like a hotspot that you can connect to. It will give you time information. If you have an Android phone, you can have the person walk to the screen where this menu is being presented and just scan that QR code. That will download the app directly. If you're working on iOS, then you can enable our AirPlay and do connections that way, or you can connect any of these devices by utilizing the dongle or by utilizing the app and the wireless capabilities of the room. If you're using a whiteboard, it's going to tell you that you're using a whiteboard. If you have to download an app or anything, it tells you that you can download it here. So it is just one screen that contains all the necessary information for you to manage the shared video conferencing system. And a typical connection from the base to different devices would be not to the devices sharing, but to the hardware that you're going to use to enjoy the result of that sharing. Will be the base is connected to power. However, it's also PoE enabled. So if you're connecting that base to an Ethernet switch in order to take it into the local area network and get the access to devices or resources on the local area network, you can also use the PoE capabilities of the network to power this base. You will go from the base to a display with an HDMI. You can extract audio from the base into an audio system if you want to have a better audio solution in your room. If you're working with a whiteboard, there's a USB connection for that, and then you can connect a mouse to control that particular whiteboard. Now, if the meeting is going to involve more people that are working remotely, if you need now to also access the video from a video software, so a video conferencing software solution, if you're going to be using your video bar also to transmit the video from the people in the room to the people that are connecting remotely, then we have a second base. That one in particular, it's very similar to the first one, but it adds the capability of now adding the video bar information and bringing in video into your meeting. So it's two different ideas. One is let's share resources with a few people in the room. The fact that those people can connect with AirPlay, wirelessly, etc., is also important because it allows you to maintain a certain social distancing in the room. In the old days, we used to get all together when we're sitting. Nowadays, if you feel more comfortable maintaining social distancing, the fact that you can do all these things wirelessly definitely adds to the comfort of the people that is participating in that particular meeting. But like I said, if you want to also include video of that meeting because now you want to share things with somebody or many people that are not in the room, then you can use this other base. And in this particular base, then you're including the video, but everything else works essentially similarly. You can connect with the dongles, you can connect wirelessly to the access point that is being created in that particular base. The connections here would look like this. So you would have the base would be connected obviously to your LAN if you want access to the LAN or at least to get internet from a guest network. Many people can come into the room and need to connect to their server to provide you the presentation material. The audio can be extracted again to an audio system, and the HDMI will take the information into the screen. There is now, like I said, in this base room to connect the camera and the microphone or speaker and a mouse. So this one gives you a little bit more flexibility if you're bringing people from outside, but everybody in the room can still connect in the same way. So if you have an iOS, you can do it with AirPlay. If you have an Android, you can do it with the app. And if you have a laptop or a Mac, you can do it with apps, but you can also do it with the dongles. So all of this is relatively simple. I'm a little bit tech savvy, and when I went there with the product manager, we set up the system and we're working on it in about 10-15 minutes. So it is definitely as much plug and play as I can think somebody can be. It's relatively easy to use, and the training shouldn't take too long to make everybody capable of stepping into the room and being able to start presenting. Another solution that we said we're working on because it's becoming popular is to do a Zoom room. And in order to do a Zoom room in this case, we are suggesting that you utilize a small computer. It's small but very powerful, that we can provide you, and you can connect the video bar to that computer so that you can run Zoom on that computer, and from there go to the screen, connecting obviously here to the LAN to get out of the facility, and everything would be, let's say, controlled by the Zoom room software that will be sitting on a tablet. So this is also another very simple setup. You just get your Zoom computer connected to the video bar. From there, go to the display, connect everything to the LAN so that you have connection to the internet, and turn on your tablet and start controlling your meeting. So this is another important solution that we are providing. In case that in any of these solutions that we have been talking about, you have a large room and everything it's a little bit farther away from the bases that you would like to in terms of connecting USB, then we can also provide a point-to-point extension with our KVM extender that will allow you the flexibility of setting up your computer, your keyboard, your mouse, etc., anywhere in the room without limitations on distance or shorter USB cables. So this is just one more product that can help you make your solution more user-friendly. The MuxMeet Me, we don't have yet the solutions ready for the market, but we are very close to having it. Keep in touch with us on social media in order to learn how is this development going. But that is going to be a great addition because it will use the same software, it will use the same type of applications. The video bar will be a miniaturized version of that video bar that we saw there for the medium larger rooms, and that is going to allow any corporation to use the same solution for workers at home that they use for workers in the office. So we're trying with these solutions to keep you connected. We looked at the video bar. We looked at a solution to share when you are in a room with everybody that is sharing in that room. A solution to share when you're in a room but people are remote and you need video conferencing. And a solution to turn your room into a Zoom room if that's the technology that you would like to implement. Well, this is kind of the end of the presentation. I always like to say that whenever you have a solution, how do you implement the solutions? First, you educate yourself, you understand why you have to do that kind of solution, why do you have to address that kind of vertical. Second, the more you educate yourself, the more you can cut through the noise. There's always, I'm sorry, Lori, marketing noise everywhere. Everybody says this and this and that. Well, the more you know, the more you learn to understand what they are actually saying. And finally, these solutions that we are showing you will allow you to tailor them according to your requirements. Because in AV, it's always all about the user's need. You have to use the solution that actually fits the needs of the users that are going to utilize that particular solution. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for attending this webinar and sharing your time with us. We know that time is money. And we'll address now any questions that you may have posted. And I'm going to leave this on here. If you would like any more information, you can contact sales team at MuxLab.com, or you can contact info@MuxLab.com. They'll be glad to support you.